This segment is brought to you by Buick. Exceptional by design. Hello again, everyone, and welcome to Bayou Time. I'm Martin False, and as usual, we always get Trooper Henry Perez up here. He's with the Louisiana State Police Public Information Officer, and he brings us the news from Troop C. And Trooper Perez, good to see you.
Good to see you too.
All right, so unfortunately, we have another crash that claimed the life of a man, so I'll let you explain that. Then we'll talk about sudden impact, because it's that time again when y'all are doing that. So I'll give you the floor to tell us the news. Okay.
So on September 26th, just after 2 p.m., Troop C began investigating a two-vehicle fatal crash. It was Highway 307 near Sanchez Road. Ultimately, the crash claimed the life of Richard Billiot of Madisonville. It was involving a Jeep Wrangler and a Yamaha motorcycle. So the Jeep Wrangler was stopped waiting to turn into a private driveway, and the Yamaha was behind it. They're traveling eastbound on 307. As the Wrangler was turning left, the motorcycle was passing, and it was actually a passing zone. So when he was doing the left turn, that's when they made contact. So the motorcycle hit the driver's side door. So it was a passing zone. And then also after the crash, we ended up doing talks on, the coroner's going to do talks on the motorcycle driver who passed away. And then the driver submitted to a breath sample and showed no alcohol in his system. And the crash is still under investigation. But what I was going to say was a lot of times people don't know, before you make a left-hand turn into a driveway or a parking lot or whatever, you have to check your mirror. So a lot of people don't know that until they find out too late. Mm-hmm. So anytime you make a left turn, you have to make sure, if you're in a passing zone, you have to check and make sure no cars are coming. There are circumstances where, let's say, if someone's almost into the driveway and someone were to hit them, then obviously we take that into account, like a case-by-case basis. But anytime you're making a left turn, you have to check your mirrors and make sure there's no cars coming. So in this case, the Jeep was vehicle 1 and the motorcycle was vehicle 2.
That's great advice, because when you're making that left-hand turn and you get T-boned, it's never going to end real well.
Yeah, a lot of times people find out when they're involved in a crash, and they're upset, and we have to explain the law as far as making that left turn. So a lot of people don't do it. They just see the traffic's clear in front of them, and they make that left turn. So just make sure, if you're going to make a left turn into a private driveway, check your mirror before you make that turn.
All right, good deal. Let's talk about sudden impact. We've covered quite a few that you have done over the years, and that's a really good program, and I think it really gets, and I say in a bad way, but it ends up good with the students, because it sort of rocks their world a little bit. It gives them a little reality, but it shows them what reality really is.
Oh yeah, definitely. When we do it with Terrible in General, they pretty much put us in a perfect top-notch facility. So we have a screen to where we could play the video. So initially, it starts with an impact statement from Dawn Simmons. She lost her 3 kids in a crash due to a drunk driver up in Monroe. So she kind of does her impact statement throughout the program. But yeah, it's a great program, just as far as it opens the kids' eyes up as far as seatbelt usage, impaired driving, and also distracted driving. So when we talk about the seatbelt usage, it's kind of an eye-opener for them, because they do see injuries. So they see degloving from people that were ejected from the vehicle. They see broken bones that are ejected. So a lot of times when we do a survey at the end of the class, we have like 99% of the kids say they're going to wear a seatbelt afterward. But it's information that they is good for them before they start driving, because a lot of them, it's sophomores in high school, so they're just all pretty much learning to drive at that point. They love to talk about the DWIs. They love to see, because we go through the whole process. So we talk about signs of impairment. We go through the field sobriety, so they like to see that. We actually show a video of somebody doing field sobriety, and then at the end, we ask them, how impaired do you think they are? And everybody's like, oh, they're really drunk, but it turns out the person's actually under the influence of narcotics. So it's cool to go through that. They like that portion of it. And then we also talk about distracted driving, as far as cell phones, as far as, if you're going to have passengers in the vehicle. A lot of times when you're younger, you might do stuff that you normally wouldn't do. You might start speeding, or you see that yellow light you're coming up to, you might floor it and go through it. So we talk about that, as far as when they're looking at their cell phone, they don't realize that if you look down at your cell phone for 5 seconds, you travel almost a football field. So you could hit a kid, you could hit another vehicle, you could hit an animal. So it's just a lot of eye-opening information that we provide to them that they they get a lot out of it.
You know, y'all do a great job. I remember when my younger brothers, 10 years younger than me, they first started going into class and really talking about DWIs and
Yeah.
driving while under the influence or whatever
Yeah.
you're under. And back in my day, we barely wore seatbelts. So
Yeah.
we didn't get the shock value that they got when they were, I think it was in third grade they started doing that, but the payoff was tremendous. And I'm still around kids today, and I'll see them having fun, getting a little inebriated, and I always say, who's a designated driver?
Yeah.
And to a group, they all go, that person.
Yeah.
They're learning. They're
Yeah.
doing it.
Yeah. Yeah. We use examples. You know, the first fatal I ever investigated was involving juveniles, and the driver put his seatbelt on, but he didn't have his passengers put their seatbelt on, and one of his friends, his best friend, died. So we use great examples throughout the program.
Yeah, y'all do a great job with that, and I appreciate it. And, keep us posted, and you're always welcome. We appreciate you coming on and sharing information with us. So thank you very much. We did release the video that y'all sent of the trooper involved shooting. So I know you can't speak of it because it's under investigation, but we'll get more as it happens. But thank you always for coming in and sharing things with us.
Thank you.
All right, there you have it. Trooper Henry Perez. We'll take a break. We'll have a lot more. Don't go away. This segment was brought to you by Buick. Exceptional by design.